Diamond P Sports presents from the National Hot Rod Association Championship Drag Racing. The Silver Anniversary Winter Nationals. Speeds in excess of 260 miles an hour. Covering the quarter mile in less than 6 seconds. Drag racing from the NHRA.
The SRA Gen 6 Series, driven by J. Robin Freed, came to the Chicagoland Speedway for race number 3 of the season. Nicholas Shelton looked to make it 2 wins in a row on a track that had one of the trickiest surfaces in all of iRacing. It would beat Shelton on the pole with Bobby Zalinski, David Shutt, Tyler Ducharme, and Ariati, the top 5, as the field rolled around the Chicagoland Speedway for 130 laps of action in the J. Robin Series. And early on, Shelton would grab the lead from Bobby Zalinski, but behind them there was action already in the exit of Turn 2, as 5th place starter Ariati would get loose out of Turn 2, nearly gets hit by Caleb Eisenhower. The field goes 4 wide behind them, as the tricky surface of Chicagoland already played havoc with cars. And then on lap number 4, there'd be problems for Tyler Ducharme. He was in front of David Shutt, and he would get loose at the exit of Turn 4, slide up and kiss the outside wall. He would spin to the infield, and the first caution of the day would come out on lap number 4. And then after the restart, the service played his head on Anthony Emery. He net codes into Ronnie Norman, gets loose at the exit of Turn 2, tries everything he could to save it, but he overcorrects, spins right in front of the field. Luis Salmazo gets into him. Justin Gable was also involved. Josh Robin also gets involved. Nathan Duna is also involved. And series newcomer Terry McQuinn were all involved in this multi-car pileup. And then later on, lap number 21 of Delonte Ballard would get loose at the exit of Turn 2. Almost had it safe by catching some big air over the berm, and he would crash into the inside retaining wall. There would be no caution, however, and he would be out of contention for a win. And then fast forwarding to lap 22 and lap 23, there will be 7 cars fighting it out for the 7th position. And one thing about the Search Chicagoland, it does provide multi-groove racing. Here we see Ariati get to the inside of Connor Anton. Simon Shipman would also be involved in this mix. Ariati would eventually get the 7th spot away, and also Alan Eller was also coming up through the field as well. And then also lap number 30, Derek Bordeaux, the defending series champion who started 25th, was making his charge for the field. Here we see him pass the number 6 machine of Nick Northrup, and he would take over the number 4 spot. And as Tadaro is still making his charge up for the field, in lap number 42, the 23 of Jonathan Shipman would get loose on the exit of Turn 4, not hit anything. He would overcorrect twice and spin to the inside grass. He does a good job to save it, but no yellow would come out, and the race would stay under green flag conditions. And then lap number 63, after the green flag pit stops were eventually cycled, Derek Bordeaux, who's short pitted, would inherit the race lead away from Nicholas Shelton, as he used a short pit to gain a bit of track position on the long runs. Eventually that lead would not last until lap number 68. Shelton would get back to the inside of Bordeaux in turns 3 and 4, and he would easily make the pass on the defending series champion, as Shelton comes back to where he usually belongs, up at the front of the field. Then a few laps later, lap number 72, Jeff S. Davis would get loose out of Turn 4 right in front of the 99 of Chris Scala. Scala does a great job to avoid him, but Davis crashes hard at the outside retaining wall. And that would be the second caution of the race on lap number 72. And then on the restart, number 77, things got a bit ugly. Lachlan McMillan got loose on the exit of Turn 2, gets into Caleb Eisenhower. Eisenhower spins to the inside, could not lock it down, gets right in front of Nick Northrup and Nicholas Carrazzo, who both take damage, and Spencer Owens ghosts through him, and that'd be the third caution of the race. And then there are more problems with Lachlan McMillan. On lap number 83, he gets loose and gets into Jonathan Shipman. He would spin to the inside, no chance of saving it, and he would crash hard into the inside retaining wall, and his night was over. No yellow would come out as a result of that. And then a few laps later, that number 90 was actually a fight for the lead. Derek Bordeaux got up to Nicholas Shelton, trying to go to the inside, of him in turns 3 and 4. He would stay with him from that corner in the front straightaway, but eventually Nicholas Shelton would use the outside line to his advantage and get the run at the exit of the corner, and he would hold off the Dard and resume the race lead and take command of the race. And then lap 105, Derek Bordeaux tried the same strategy again. He would short pit during this green flag run, and he would hope to use his tires to his advantage and get a lead over Shelton if green flag pit stops work to cycle through. And he was on a mission. Here we see him passing a whole bunch of cars, literally bonsaiing the thing near the outside retaining wall in turns 1 and 2. He would eventually get to the outside, and he would take and pass those cars. But then that strategy would come back to bite on lap 113. Jared Darling gets the outside wall and gets into Timothy Johnston. They would both go spin to the inside. Darling does an incredible job to not hit anything, but unfortunately the caution would come up, and that would definitely hurt the Dard in terms of his strategy. On the restart, lap number 19, Nicholas Shelton was still cruising, pulling away from Bobby Zielinski, as he was on its charge to make his second win in a row in 6 series. Lap 121, Derek Bordeaux, trying to make up for lost time, would go 3 wide on David Shutt and Alan Elwood, when he would eventually get by Shutt and Elwood as well, and that would move him up to the 4th spot. And then a few laps later, lap 124, late race bad luck would bite Elwood. He gets too high in the exit of turn number 4, whacks the outside wall right in front of Ariani. He would almost climb the wall, but he would eventually DNF a few laps later. And as mentioning about Ariani, he was doing a little bit of daredevil work. He had to dive to the inside grass to avoid hitting Elwood. He did an incredible job to save the car and keep going, but he would lose some valuable positions. And with all that what's going on, it'll be all Nicholas Shelton once again, as he would come out of turn number 4 and would take his second consecutive win in the SRA Gen 6 Series presented by J. Robin Free. Your final result, Nicholas Shelton with the win, Bogdalinski was 2nd, Derek Bordeaux was 3rd, Samuel Lapp 4th, David Shutt was 5th, Jonathan Shippen was 6th, Ronnie Norman 7th, Connor Anton 8th, Bobby J 9th, and Timothy Johnson, despite the spin, will recover and get his first career SRA top 10 finish. Point standings now, Samuel Lapp was lead, Tyler Ducharme was 2nd, 15 points back, then there's a tie between Derek Bordeaux and Nick Northrup, then a tie with David Shutt and Bobby J for 5th place. Ariana was 7th, Nicholas Cressel was 8th, Nicholas Shelton was 9th, and Lachlan McMillan would round out the top 10. And in the team standings, it would be Ripper Dart Racing and GMHR tied at 324. Heavy Hitter Motorsport was 1st, Cycle Theory Motorsports was 4th. The Grinch was 5th, East Coast Outlaw Racing was 6th, and the Part-Timers would be in 7th place with 139 points.